Hello, my name is Jack Ward. I also go by the username Striker2K2, and I'm going to be leading you all through the installation of Ghidra today. A couple things that you need for this tutorial is a Windows operating system. You can use Ubuntu if you know the similarities between the two. I'm going to be teaching you on a Windows operating system today, and you need an internet connection. To get Ghidra 100% installed, you are going to need the Ghidra zip file. You are going to need Java Development Kit 11, and you're going to need the Java Runtime 8. So Ghidra is a software reverse engineering framework developed by the NSA, and it was released in 2019. It's Java based and it's very similar to IDA Pro. It has a great decompiler and it can run Python scripts. The great thing about this is that you do not need a registry key to use this software or to run the Python scripts. We are going to be using Java. We're going to be using the Runtime and the Software Development Kit. Java is very powerful. It was released in 1995 by Sun Microsystems. We're going to be using these two links on the screen to download both versions of Java that we're going to need for this tutorial. So let's jump into it. Alright, I have a Windows 7 virtual machine up and running, and I have something in the recycle bin that I'm going to delete. Alright, so first thing we're going to do is we're going to go to the Ghidra website. We're going to go ahead and download the main package. Once we download the package and we attempt to run it, it will tell us what dependencies are required, just in case if we don't exactly know what dependencies are required. So there's two links. One from the NSA, you can click on this, go through it, and read their description of Ghidra and what its pros and cons are. Or you can go to the second web link. I'm going to hold down Control and click my mouse, and it's going to open up a new tab. This one will take you straight to the download for Ghidra, and this is exactly where I want to go. I'm going to click on Download Ghidra. I'm going to click Save. It is putting it into the Downloads folder. Once it's completed here, we can click here and go straight into that download folder. Alright, so I have a couple versions already in here. I'm going to delete them. And then the one that we downloaded, I'm going to right click and I'm going to do Extract All. All right, we're going to extract all of them into the download folder. If you had problems getting into the download folder, what you could have done is gone to the Start menu, go to My Computer, go into your C drive, click on Users, go into your username, and then go to Downloads. There's multiple different ways to get to the download folder, but they all lead to the same place. Alright, so here's our Ghidra 9.0.4. I'm going to go ahead and close the download folder in the background, and I'm going to go ahead and minimize my web browser. Something I like to do is I like to put my programs that have executables, or bash files in this case, I like to put all my programs inside of program files. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click on this one, I'm going to click on Copy, then I'm going to go to Computer, Local Disk, Program Files, and then I've already pasted it inside of the program files. So Ghidra is ready to go in program files. Everyone else would have right clicked and click on paste. So let's go into Ghidra. So Ghidra has a bash file that runs the program. And if you right click and click on edit, you're going to notice that this is the bash file that it has. It's very simple and it passes everything that it needs to get Ghidra started. What I like to do is I like to have a shortcut on my desktop. So I'm going to right click here. I'm going to send to desktop. That's going to put the Ghidra run shortcut on my desktop. Alright. I'm a fan of icons. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click, go to properties. I'm going to change the icon. Yes, I do understand. And then I'm going to browse to my Ghidra folder that I have on my computer, which is my computer, C drive, Program Files x86, click into Ghidra, and then here I'm going to go to the top right hand side. I'm going to do a search for star.ico. And that is going to give me the Ghidra icon. I'm going to click on it once and click Open. You see that the Ghidra icon populates in there. Click OK, click Apply and OK. You can hit OK if you want to. You don't have to click Apply, but that's a habit that I do. And I'm going to go ahead and rename it as well. I just click once on it until it gives me the option to rename it. I'm going to get rid of that shortcut because I know it's a shortcut. The icon's right there. For those of you who are having problems renaming it, just click on the icon, right click, and then go into rename. And that'll allow you to do the same thing that I just did. All right. Let's go ahead and run Ghidra, and let's see what errors it gives us. Java runtime not found. All right, so this is an error that we've expected. We do have to install Java runtime. Java runtime can be found at the following website. You can either Google this or you can type it in straight because it is an easy website to get to. www.java.com. Hit enter and then go into Java. All right, what I always do is I always come to this download link. I like having more information. This download link always gives it to me. So we are going to be downloading version 8, update 2.11. If you have an update that is more than 2.11, go ahead and download the newest update. If you have issues with an update that's above 2.11, then you continue to browse through the Java website until you find version 8, update 2.11. But any future update should work just fine. Let's agree and start the free download. All right, we are going to once again save it, and it's going to save into our downloads folder. You can click on this icon, open the file folder. If not, you can go in through the way that I showed you earlier. And I'm going to go ahead and run this one straight from where it's at. All right, so as soon as I run it, it has a tendency to pop up in the background. I'm going to exit out of this. There it is. I'm also going to minimize the web browser. I'm going to click install and go through all the prompts. I'm going to hit next on every prompt that comes up. All right, you have successfully installed Java. Congratulations. All right, so we're going to try to run Ghidra again. All it asked for was runtime, right? But when we run it, it is now saying that we need to install JDK 11. So let's go and install JDK 11. All right, so you can either go to the Oracle website and stumble your way around, or you can let Google do the work for you. So I'm going to type in Java JDK 11. And the first one on my search result is going to take me exactly where I need to go. Look for the term Java Development Kit 11 downloads. Once again, I'm going to hold down Control and click, and it'll open it up in a new tab for me. All right, so here is the Java Development Kit 11 download. As you scroll down, you're going to see that here at the bottom is where all the files are being hosted from. But up here, there are two options: decline and accept license agreement. We're going to accept license agreement. As soon as we click it, those options disappear. If we did not select any of those options and started clicking, it would not let us download it. We have to click on accept. So we're going to download this exe. I like the exe better because that means I get double click and it works flawlessly. So I do have a username and password, and unfortunately you're not going to be privileged to see it. So I'm going to flip over to this real quick. There we go. We now have a nice little sign-in box that is going to go over it while I type in my information in the background. So I'm typing, you cannot see anything. All right. Okay, so I have entered my information correctly the second time, and now it is giving me the option to download the file. So we're going to click download. And then we're going to wait. This is a slightly larger download. So if we look, we're about halfway through it. Not too bad. If your downloads are a little bit slower, feel free to pause the video. Take your time. Okay, now that it's downloaded, we can execute it. So I clicked on the button to open up the downloads. I'm going to double click on JDK 11.0.3, then click yes. I'm going to go ahead and exit out of my downloads. I'm going to minimize my internet browser. I'm just going to click next on every option that is available to me. All right, the development kit has been successfully installed. So now I'm going to run Ghidra again. And there we go. Welcome to Ghidra. You have successfully installed Ghidra. All right, the first thing you see is going to be the help menu. This has a lot of great information. I suggest you take your time and go through it. So we're going to close out of here. You have successfully installed Ghidra. You have reached a point where you can say that you have installed it and installed it successfully. If you've run into any issues so far, feel free to jump down in the comments below, leave me a comment, ask me your question, and I will see if I can get you an answer. But this is not where I'm going to leave you. We're going to go one step further. What good is installing something if you can't see it run at least once? So, I have found another tutorial that's going to be very beneficial for you. Let me click over here real quick. Alright, so what we are going to do is we are going to search for a real quick tutorial that has a very good binary for us to dissect and analyze. So I want you to Google for the following. We're going to Google Shogun Lab. Here be dragons. Shogun Lab is the name of the person who published the article, the person or group, and Here Be Dragons is the name of the article. So once you search for that, as of right now, it is the first search result we get. So we're going to go into this one. All right, once you get to this page, I want you to scroll down until you see it says your first project, Crack Me. About midway in the paragraph, it says you can click here. So we're going to click here. We're going to go into their GitHub. And their GitHub, this first one, at least for me, is the Crack Me binaries, in which we're going to go into the Win32 binaries. And this first one is the one that I'm going to want. Once I'm in it, then I can come down to this download button about the middle right of your web browser, click download. And just like everything else, we're going to click save file. This is a quick download. And here it is. I am going to hold down my control button. I'm going to drag this onto my desktop. So that way I have made a copy of it. I'm not going to need the downloads anymore. And I'm going to go ahead and minimize my internet browser. I'm going to rearrange some of my icons. And we're going to drop Crack Me. Alright, so we are not dropping Crack Me just yet because we do not have an active project. So we have to create an active project by going File, New Project. We're going to do a non-shared project. We're going to name it Crack Me, or whatever naming convention you wish to call it. And now that we have an active project, we can drag this Crack Me 0x00 into the project. Right, so portable executable with Windows defaults to the destination folder of Crack Me. And the program name is going to be Crack Me 0x00exe. All right, once we click OK, it's going to do a file import. So when we were on the GitHub page, you notice that there were many different versions of Crack Me, going from 00 to 09, I believe. My understanding is that 00 is the easiest one, and then it continues to get progressively more difficult as you go up in numbers or down on the page as we saw it. Okay, I don't have any reason for Ghidra or any Java platform right now to reach out to the internet, so I'm going to click on cancel. All right, here we get some information on Crack Me. It is not a read-only. And here is the executable MD5 hash. You can use this MD5 hash to get more information about this exe if you drop it into Google or into any of your popular malware sandboxes. Alright, so now that it is imported, we're going to click on the code browser dragon. So if you see nothing came up in the code browser, sometimes when you do that, your code's automatically going to populate. Sometimes not. If it does not populate like mine has, I want you to go to File, click on Open, and then bring in Crack Me again. Just click on it and click OK, and now it comes up. So it has not been analyzed. Do we want to analyze it? Yes, let's go ahead and analyze it. Now, if you look at the bottom right hand side, this is where all the analytical things are occurring. You can see it right behind my picture. Once that is done, then we can continue on. I usually get this error about the PDB. Go ahead and ignore it for right now. Click the OK button and continue on in your analysis. All right. So I'm not going to go full depth into Crack Me. That might be a video I do in the future. For right now, I just want you to see what it looks like and how you can use it. So I'm really quickly going to go to the end of the program and pretty much give you the answers. So what is Crack Me? Crack Me is a very simple program in which when you run it normally, it asks you for the password. You guess the password, and it gives you a message saying whether it was completed or not. When you do it that way, it is going to close out very quickly. So I found out that opening up your own command prompt and launching it through a command prompt is easier because it doesn't terminate once the program is completed. It does terminate, but it still allows you to see it. So let's go ahead and guess that the password is 1234. It is an invalid password. You can guess a million times, 9876. Unless you know the password, it's going to keep saying invalid password. So the goal of this little tutorial from Crack Me is to find out what the password is by going into the code itself. So let's do that. All right, so I know that I have a guess that this is written in C. So I'm going to see if I can find a main function. There's a main folder, a single underscore main. Let's see what's in here. I see a main function. Okay, so this is either going to contain all the answers that I need, or this is going to contain other functions that is going to lead to the answer that I'm looking for. All right, in this middle pane, we see all the hex bytes and the assembly code. You can go through here, and if you know what the ESP is and what this is, you can do the math yourself and figure out that code is being transferred in the ESP and things along those lines. For those of us that are a little bit more familiar with C, we can continue on into the far right-hand pane. We can see some code that looks a little bit more familiar to us that are more comfortable with C than we are with assembly code. So just looking through here, I see a couple things. I see some strings. I see some variables. And I've seen a valid password before. We saw that earlier when we tried to do Crack Me on our own. So I got a feeling that this is probably the code for Crack Me. So a couple things. I know this is a string that I saw when we ran the program. So this is a string that was outputted. So this is probably going to be, this right here isn't really a .text. It is, but I know it a little bit better as print me. So I'm going to right click on this, rename function. I'm going to call it printf. Print me. I'm going to hit OK because that's what I know it as. As I do that, I see that everything else that had the same sort of naming convention went ahead and changed to printf. So now I get a better idea of what I'm looking at. This has a string and it passes in this local character. Where are we getting this local character from? My assumption is that this is what we type in when we are guessing the number. So this is probably something along the lines of a CN, or some people call it scanf. We're going to go ahead and call it scanf. There's multiple different ways depending on what language you use the most. Scanf is what I'm going to be calling it today. But what that's pretty much saying is that, monitor the keystrokes that are typed in, and then when it is sent, have those variables be saved into a string. or have the string be saved into that variable. All right, var1 is this. So var1 equals this number, and it's that. If var1 is the same to 0, then okay, all right, so if var1 is equal to 0, so there's some sort of comparison going on. So what it's doing, it is verifying what was written in here in the scan with this right here. So let's go ahead and rename this. We're going to call this input parameter. Or how about input variable? All right, input variable, input variable. You see it automatically changed the name of everything else. So var1 is probably going to be the password check. So I'm going to call it pass check. All right, so as we rename the functions and the variables one by one, we get a better idea of what's happening. Furthermore, this seems that it's comparing the input variable against what really seems to be the actual password. So I think it would be best to call this a string compare. All right, so let's run through it. Let's see if it makes sense to us. Here's the main. So print crack me level 0x0. All right, input password or printf password. Yep. Then scan, which it did, and then if the input variable matches that, in which we see over here that our original input variable did not match that, it would jump into else and call it invalid password. Having said that, if the input variable does match this, let's go and give it a shot. We're guessing, our hypothesis is that if it matches this, then it's going to say password OK. So let's go 250382. Hey, it says password is OK. There we go. So that's a real quick rundown on Ghidra. Very simple how to get into the main function. You double click there. Very quick overview of the assembly code, and then some renaming of functions inside of the decompiler. All right, there's one more thing that I want to show you before I let you go. I'm going to go ahead and save that, then I'm going to exit out of Ghidra in its entirety. I'm going to come over here to Tools, then I'm going to come Correction, I'm going to come to Edit, then I'm going to go to Tool Options. What I want to do is for those who love dark mode or night mode, I'm going to show you how you can invert the color scheme of Ghidra so it's a little bit easier on your eyes. So once you get into this option menu, click on Tools, or click on Tool, and then here there is inverted colors. Click on that. And then for look and feel, once you invert the colors, it's going to be very difficult to see anything inside of Ghidra with the Windows look and feel. So you have two options. You can do metal, which is a very good look and feel against the inverted colors, but I found out that Windows Classic is actually a better look and feel. So I'm going to click Apply. Use an inverted color setting best worked with metal look and feel. Even it suggests metal. I do like the Windows Classic. I'm going to keep the Windows Classic. I've done it before and I think Windows Classic is better. But you do have to restart the entire program. So we're going to exit out of it and then go right back into it. Already I like it. Here we go. So this is how you do the inverted mode inside of Ghidra. Let me double click on Crack Me. Let's go back into it and take a look at how it feels. All right, so let's jump into the functions. Let's go back down to the main. And then I really like the way that this looks. The bar often confuses me. I thought that the bar should be white for where the bar is and black for everything else. But once you get used to that inverted kind of feel, then everything is good. I really like the way that this looks, and I suggest it very highly. I really like it. All right, so that is going to be the end of my demonstration. If you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. You can find me on Twitch. I often do a lot of streaming, so feel free to get the Twitch app. Go ahead and send me a message, ask me your questions. You You can also catch me on YouTube. Go ahead and scroll down to the comments below. Leave me your questions, your comments, your feedback. You can always reach out to me on Twitter at Striker2K2. All right, and thank you guys for your time. Appreciate it, and we'll see y'all later.